بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم وظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين آمين. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A few months ago we started a discourse on ethics. However, today inshallah I decided something different. I decided inshallah today that we'll stop at the discussion where we reached the relationship between our actions and our belief. And I thought that it's very important that we stop here and not go any further with the discussions on ethics, to stop at belief, al-Aqidة, and try to understand what is the Islamic viewpoint, or the more specifically the madhab of Ahlul Bayt's viewpoint on Aqidة. Firstly, the word Aqidة, where does it come from? This word Aqidة, where does it come from? In terms of English, if we can translate it very briefly, we can say your belief or your theology, if you want to say. But it comes from Aqada in Arabic. And this perhaps we can try to relate and understand when we say the word Aqida, is that يعني ما يعقد إليه القلب أو عليه القلب, the heart, what it attaches to. So, because the word aqad is attached or joint. So we want to understand what is it our heart is attached to when we speak about Aqidah. And the problem with this is that we pronounce or we claim a belief, however our hearts is attached to something else. And this is the problem with Aqidah, and from our perspective of not studying it, of not understanding it. And this is why we want to ask, and give us some examples, and what details are we facing problems with Aqidah. If I say to you, Ma'rifatullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say we are monotheists, we are believers of one God. But then I ask you, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi sama or fil ard? Most maybe might say, of course, He's not in the earth, He's in the skies, the heavens. But even some schools who openly profess this will go to the details in expressing where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the sky. However, for us, the issue is, we don't believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the sky. But here, even with our actions, we find, for example, I remember when I was young, my grandmother would tell me to flip over the shahada or the hida, and to have respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a common practice we have with the Middle Eastern especially. But what does that give you the impression? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the sky. Or for example, when we say, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He, there's an ayah in the Quran, ثم دنا فتدلى فكان قاب قوسين أو أدنى. We read this ayah and we come to think, gives us the impression Allah is somewhere and something's coming closer to Allah. We have an impression Allah is somewhere and we're here. And this is the issue, because we claim that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of place, time, where we are, but the way we act, the way we speak of Allah is different. But more problematic, or what's more of an issue, is our actual belief in the system itself. Allah says, Hayya ala salat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, come to prayer. But we don't come to prayer. We claim that we come to prayer, but we don't come to prayer on time. Instead, if somebody was to tell us, come to my house, or come to, have some entertainment, we'll run to that without doubt, without hesitation. And this gives us a bit of a gist of where we are right now with our Aqidah. Where is our heart attached to when we speak about knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How much do we know, or how much is our heart attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And here, I want to touch on the topic of establishing the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today's discussion, hopefully, is elaborating on the discussion of establishing the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hopefully we'll get to one proof, which is going to be guided through the words or the hadith of our holy Imams, alayhim salam. But hopefully just now, I would like to ask a question to everyone. What is the means for us to reach Aqeedah, to gain this understanding of our religion? What is the means that we're supposed to be using? As in, what is the tool that we should use to reach this belief that we're supposed to be clinging on to? Most might say the aql, correct? Would everyone agree? The intellect. This is the tool that we use. But my question is that tool that we use, does it have any limitations? As in, can we just rely on the intellect itself? Who would say yes to put their hands up? Is the intellect, the mind, or the faculty of reasoning enough for the human being to reach his aqeedah? Or does he need another tool, another means?
So it depends on what's the target. That is that just knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or knowing the whole
let's just say knowing Allah, let's just keep it at that. But in terms, it's also referring to knowing everything else. But just with knowing Allah, is the intellect enough to know Allah?
I said yes.
Okay, would everyone agree? Would anyone disagree? Sorry? Everyone agree? To know Allah. Can you know the details? How much can you know about Allah?
How's that? Can I say? I had actually
Discussion?
a lecture.
Yeah, okay.
From Sheikh Ansari from Sydney.
Right.
And so it's not from me. He said it's 3 things you can actually find by your lecture.
Okay.
First is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Tawheed.
So it's first is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Tawheed. Second is Nubuwwah. And third is Ma'at. That's the 3 things. The other 2 things, no.
Not true.
You need another tool.
Right.
So,
But I'm just specifically saying here, okay, just to that point as well. Okay, let's say our religion itself, our deen, we've divided it before, we've done this before. We have usul, and we have furu', yeah? Usul, how much is it divided into? We've said this before, a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago. We have 2 categories of usul. There's usul al-din and usul al-madhab. Okay? Just to write it short, alright, madhab and ad-din. Right, ad-din, what makes you a Muslim? Because deen means your religion. What is it that makes you a Muslim? The brother mentioned it, Tawheed, which is oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then? Nubuwwah. And al-Ma'ad. Right. And the madhab, this is what makes you a Muslim. Okay. But what makes you here in regards to Ibn Ashari, a Shi'i, is the extra 2. By adding these 2, this is what makes you fall into this category, which is al-Adala and al-Imam. Everyone knows this terminology, yeah? Everyone's familiar with it? Okay. This is what makes you a Shia. Okay. Now the brother mentioned something here. He said that intellect is used for these three, okay? But for these it's through maybe the sources, the narrations, Quran, etc. Okay, just specifically this one, at-tawheed, can the intellect be suffice or enough to know the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Most of you agreed and said yes. However, I would say there's a certain limit you can know the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when it comes to the that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what have our imams told us regarding this? What has been the advice or the commandments from the riwayat that we have regarding the essence of Allah? Even not the essence of Allah. Even when it comes to the attributes of Allah, can we know it through just reasoning? I sit down in a room and start reasoning to come to conclusion A to Z. The issue here is that we have different means to reach conclusions or to reach knowledge. One of these means, which is what the scientists today rely upon, is the school of empiricism, is the means of senses. Anything that can be sensed is valid. But anything beyond that, just relying on just thinking, we can't take that as something serious. But with reasoning itself, I can't reason what's behind right now this wall. I can't tell you from my mind, just reasoning, what exists behind this wall, or what exists on the other side of the world. I don't have that ilm al-ghayb. I can't access this. And for this reason, I require another source, a source that completes this. And that's wahy. And this is where we rely. This is why it's limited just to rely on reasoning itself. We require another source. Now here, where we're supposed to go with this discussion, is this the same? Because does this mean that we say that Islam is suggesting that there's no answers for everything? Or does Islam say over here that our reasoning is only to a certain level, then we say there's no answers, and then we say we stop thinking? Similar to the Christians. The Christians say 3 gods and 1. How? We don't know. Is this the same thing? This is a question for everyone. Is this the same thing? When we say we can't reason the essence of Allah. لا تفكروا فيه كن هداية الله. This is the hadith. Don't think about the essence of Allah. أو كل ما توهمته أو تفكرتم يعني the more you think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala فهو مخلوق مثلكم. That he's created just like you. If the more you think about it, he's created just like you. Along the lines. Now, is this the same as the Christians who claims that, well, we say that 3 and 1, 3 gods or 3 figures makes 1 God. We don't understand, we can't reason, so we just say it's beyond intellect, beyond the reasoning. Would this be the same thing? So for example, if I was to ask you the essence of Allah, can you explain it to me? No Muslim will explain it to you. So we don't know. We can't explain the essence of Allah. Is this the same principle or same reasoning as the Christian? We say no. Because there's something beyond intellect, فوق العقل, something beyond the intellect, and there's something in difference to the aql, or something that's conflicting with the aql. And that's what we say with the Christians. We say that's conflicting with the intellect. We don't agree with it because it conflicts with the intellect. Now, just wanted to... Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I want to go to that, say, intellectual is actually finding the essence of Allah, or finding as who is the creator.
Okay.
And there's a difference.
There's a difference, yeah.
If you want to go to the essence of Allah, how He looks and all this stuff,
Mhm.
of course it's beyond your.
Beyond the intellect. Yeah.
But if you want to say no,
To reach...
to reach that, if there is a creator or not, of course, intellectual can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I agree, yeah.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. And it's good that you pointed that out. There's a difference between reaching, and this is why I agree, the established existence of Allah is there. We understand that. But to establish the things that is beyond the capacity of reasoning, we don't use the intellect for that. And we can't use the intellect for that. It's beyond our reasoning. With Al-Aqidah as well, here's another point maybe to mention, is that there are three levels, okay? There are things that are daruriyat, and that you must believe in it. And if you don't believe in it, it makes you a kafir. It makes you out of the religion of Islam. Whether it be through usul, someone who is incapable, is not able to reach this understanding, or whether it be through taqsir, and somebody who had the capacity to reach these answers but didn't make the effort to do it. The person who doesn't have these, such as tawheed, nubuwwah, ma'ad, is a non-Muslim. Then there's another category, and of course that category you required to believe in these things through dalil, through evidence. You must have some sort of evidence for you on the Day of Judgment to suggest that you are a Muslim, or to prove your Islam through your belief. Because it's not enough for you to just say, because my parents are Muslim, therefore I'm a Muslim. All scholars will tell you that التقليد في أصول الدين is haram. You can't do taqlid in this area. Okay? As for furu', we're not going to discuss that. But when it comes to proving or having proof for your belief, there should be enough of an argument or enough of evidence, even though it's not something fantastic or something so expressive as you find in books or from what the scholars have said. Enough as something like, for example, when the Prophet ﷺ asked someone, how did you prove the existence of Allah? They said, the droppings of a camel is enough for me to prove that there was a camel there. So you're telling me that all this in motion here, in effect, doesn't point to an existing creator? So this is enough as evidence, or is it for you to believe in Tawheed, for example? But just to go one step further, or we said that, sorry, just to go back one step. There's a third level of belief. So there's a second level of belief, and that is that you believe in something that is not necessary for you to be Muslim. But that if you believe in it, it still requires evidence. However, by not believing in it, doesn't make you a non-Muslim. All that makes you is someone who's dalal, someone who's misguided. Okay? And then there's a third level of belief where these things doesn't make you nor Muslim nor misguided. You believe in it if you don't believe in it. Such as the details of Barzakh or the details of Al-Qiyamah. These things don't make you any less or more of a Muslim or non-Muslim. Okay. Just to save time, hopefully I wanted to get to a narration today, just to change it up a bit. And this one is about, it's a narration basically regarding a debate that took place with Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam and an atheist. Now, hopefully we can use this as the premise or the framework of the discussion that's to come, if we can complete it today or if we can continue with it next week. Basically, just to give a small introduction on Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Yaqub al-Kulayni, who is the author of this book, which is one of our main sources in terms of hadith, in terms of our references, as Shia Ithna Ashari. We believe that what we have is sources that have been passed down to us, but not every book and every narration we claim to be is sahih. So we don't claim, as other schools of thought have, that there are books that are titled as sahih. However, what we do have is a chain or a way that we study these narrations, and we judge based upon the different narrators to determine the authenticity of hadith. However, for this hadith in particular, or before that, in fact, Al-Qulayni himself, his father, Yaqub, was living in the time of the occupation, this minor occupation of the Imam Ali, Ajallah Ta'ala Faraj al-Sharif. He was living in that time, and his family, you can say, came from a well-renowned background from narrating hadith and of scholars, fuqaha as well. So it is one of our most reliable books of the 4 books that we have, the 4 main books of narrations. And this particular chapter is known as Bab Huduth al-Alam wa Ithbat al-Muhdith. This is the section of establishing the existence of the world, because in that time there was debates from atheists, and this wasn't in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The atheists started to come after that time, because Islam started to spread into Greece and to different parts where philosophy was spreading and was becoming renowned, and it started to infiltrate into some of the Muslim theology, and the discussion started to take place there. So, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. كان بمصر زنديق. There was in Egypt an atheist. Zindiq, this word comes from a Farsi word, zand, which literally means somebody who believes in the book of, because what's it called? Sorry? I'm not sure, not that word. The Majusis in that time, they believed in a book called Zand, and whoever believed in this was given that term as Zindiq, and which literally meant somebody who believed in 2 gods. They had the God of the good and the God of the bad.
Life.
In Farsi?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So that's the book. This is where it came from. Right. But then, when it became an Arabic term, it became known for ilhad, or as somebody who's an atheist, and this is where it's used today, mostly used today. So in Egypt there was an atheist. This is the beginning of the hadith. تبلغه عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام أشياء. It reached him news about Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq عليه السلام. فخرج إلى المدينة ليناظره فلم يصادفه بها. He came to the city of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq عليه السلام and to debate him. So he intended to debate. Now the first thing that this hadith tells us is this man intended to debate Imam alayhi salam. He came to prove something that he believed in. Now here's just something to stop at. When we come to discuss with a scholar, or we come to discuss with anyone, we need to come to make sure we have not come to put forward any arguments unless we're certain of that belief. Because there's 2 levels of ignorance. Okay? There's a level of ignorance where we don't know that we don't know. And then there's a more simple level of ignorance, and that's when you know when you know that you don't know. And this is the more complex version. The complex version is when he thinks he's got an argument on his hand to come to the Imam, which is a jahl al-murakkab. So he comes to the Medina, ليناظره فلم يصادفه بها. He did not find the Imam there. وقيل له إنه خارج بمكة. It was told to him that he is not in the city, Medina. He's gone to Mecca for Hajj. So فخرج إلى مكة ونحن مع أبي عبد الله عليه السلام فصادفنا ونحن مع أبي عبد الله عليه السلام. So we were with Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq عليه السلام, and he came and he encountered us. Where? When they were in Mecca. في الطواف. While they were doing the circumambulation of the Kaaba. وكان اسمه عبد الملك وكنيته أبو عبد الله. His name was Abdul Malik, and his kunya, what he was known as, is Abu Abdullah. فضرب كتفه كتف أبي عبد الله عليه السلام. So he his shoulder into the shoulder of the Imam alayhi salam. When they were doing tawaf, he hit the shoulder of the Imam. And this can be interpreted in the sense that he's trying to get the attention of the Imam, or he's trying to suggest to the Imam that here I am to have a debate with you, challenging the Imam. And this goes to show you the level of ego people have when they come with a sense of argument or something that they want to discuss with someone. Okay. فقال له أبو عبد الله عليه السلام, the Imam, this is how he responded. And this is where we need to first stop and think how the Imams alayhi salam would respond in such a situation. Do you turn around and hit the person because he bumped into you? The Imam alayhi salam came with a psychological approach over here. He came with 3 approaches. Hopefully we'll start going through them one by one. This one is a psychological approach. The Imam alayhi salam came forward and he said to him, Masmuk, what's your name? فقال اسمي عبد الملك. My name is Abdul Malik. And Abdul Malik literally translated as the servant of the king. قال فما كنيتك? What are you known as? قال كنيتي أبو عبد الله. I'm known as the servant of, the father of the servant of Allah. So his son, his name is Abdullah. فقال له أبو عبد الله عليه السلام, the Imam عليه السلام responded to him and he said, فمن هذا الملك الذي أنت عبده? So who is this Malik, this king that you are a servant of? أمن ملوك الأرض أمن ملوك السماء? Is he from the kings of the ground, of the earth, or is he from the kings of the heavens? وأخبرني عن ابنك عبد إله السماء أم عبد إله الأرض? And tell me about your son. Is he a servant of the Lord of the heavens, or is he a servant of the Lord of the earth? Realize this is the immediate response from the Imam alayhi salam. كل ما شئت تخصم. Say whatever you want, it will not be in your favor. You will lose. So if you answer, because obviously this person has come as a mulhid, he's come as an atheist. His name is Abdul Malik, the slave of a king. Whether he says this king is Allah and Malik is Allah, or he says anyone, it's not in his favor. And if he says that his son, Abdullah, is a servant of Allah and he's the father of Abdullah, it's not going to be in his favor as well. What this actually done with this person took him off guard. And it's what we need to realize in discussion as well. The first thing you do is not you come with an argument, presenting your rational point of view. It doesn't always come off like that, because as much reasoning as you come off with, as much reasoning as you present, if the person has ego, he won't listen to it. So you need to break that ego. And this is the approach of the Imam alayhi salam. قُلْ مَا شِئْتَ تُخْصَمْ. Whatever you say, it's not going to be in your favor. إِذَا فَرِغْتُ مِنَ الطَّوَافِ فَأْتِنَا. If I become free from, when I have time, after we finish this tawaf, come to us then. فَلَمَّا فَرِغَ أَبُو عَبْدِ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ أَتَاهُ الزِّنْدِيقُ. After this, when the Imam alayhi salam stopped from his tawaf, the zindiq, this atheist, came. فقعد بين يدي أبي عبد الله عليه السلام ونحن مجتمعون عنده. And we sat down with the Imam عليه السلام, and this atheist joined us. فقال أبو عبد الله عليه السلام للزنديق أتعلم أن للأرض تحتا وفوقا؟ عفوا للزنديق أتعلم أن للأرض تحتا وفوقا? He goes, do you understand that this earth has beneath it للزنديق أتعلم أن للأرض تحتا وفوقا? This earth, do you have awareness, or do you know that it has layers above and beneath as well? قال نعم, of course I know. It is the atheist. قال فدخلت تحتها? So have you entered under it? Or have you entered into it? قال لا. I guess I haven't. قال فما يدريك ما تحتها? So how do you know what's under it? قال لا أدري. Here we underline this word. From the certainty he came with in the initial stage, Now he says he doesn't know. In terms of what's under this earth, he doesn't know. So the Imam, what's he doing slowly here? He's putting doubt into his mind. He's saying, have you seen what's under this earth? He says, no. Have you been down there? No. إلا أني أظن أن ليس تحتها شيء. Except that I think that under it is nothing. There's nothing there. In terms of looking for God, so the Imam is basically suggesting, have you found God under the earth? He says, no. فقال أبو عبد الله عليه السلام فالظن عجز. He goes, the thinking or just guesswork, that's weakness in a debate. You've come to me with an argument, and your premise, when you have a debate or an argument, you need to come with a foundation, something to base your argument upon. Imam alayhi salam, he's saying here, you've come with me with guesswork. الظن عجز. This dhann of yours, this thinking, isn't a strong argument so far. You come with weakness. لما لا تستيقن? Why don't you attain certainty? And so the Imam here is taking him through, firstly, his level of breaking his ego, to having doubt, and now to look for certainty. The Imam is telling him, why don't you look for certainty? ثم قال أبو عبد الله عليه السلام أفصعدت السماء? Have you climbed the skies? Or have you reached the skies? قال لا. Of course, no, I haven't. قال أفتدري ما فيها? Do you know what's in the skies? Right? قال لا. Of course I don't know what's in the skies. قال عجبا لك. Strange of you. You don't know what's in the skies. You don't know what's in the earth. And you're claiming that God doesn't exist. Now, just to put a side note over here. Is the Imam alayhi salam actually using the earth and the sky, or the sky and the earth, as a place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could possibly be? No. He's using this to suit the standards that he's come with. The standards he's come with is that I can't see Allah, and so therefore he doesn't exist. And this is the majority of people today. They come with this very standard. I can't see God, he hasn't come to me, so he doesn't exist. So the Imam's using this very standard of his to suggest to him that if you haven't even climbed the skies, or you haven't gone under the earth, you haven't seen what's there, so how can you deny this God that you're looking for? لم تبلغ المشرق ولم تبلغ المغرب ولم تنزل الأرض ولم تصعد السماء. He goes, you haven't gone east to the west, and you haven't gone to the skies and under the ground. ولم تجزي هناك فتعرف ما خلفهن. And you haven't passed or crossed what's in between it, or what's there, so to know what's behind it. وأنت جاحد بما فيهن. And you're denying what's in it. وهل يجحد العاقل ما لا يعرف? And does the intellectual person deny that which he does not know? Can you deny that which you do not know? And a lot of times, this is just another side point over here. When we deny something, denying is different to saying I don't know. We need to be careful. If we disagree with something, we need to have evidence for it. If we don't understand something, we can say I don't know. But the moment I say, this is not from Islam, I deny this from Islam, you must have evidence to prove that. The moment you say, I deny this from anything, you must have evidence to substantiate that claim. But what you can't say, or a third person will say, if he doesn't know, he says, I have no evidence, therefore I can't make a judgment, I can't take a stance. I say, I don't know, I sit on the fence. So وأنت جاحد بما فيهن وهل يجحد العاقل ما لا يعرف. قال الزنديق, he replied, ما كلمني بهذا أحد غيرك. He goes, nobody has spoken to me about this, never ever before. This is the first time someone's come with statements like this before. فقال أبو عبد الله عليه السلام, Imam Ja'far Sadiq عليه السلام says, فأنت من ذلك في شك. So you're in doubt regarding this issue. فلعله هو وَلَعَلَّهُ لَيْسَ هُوَ. So perhaps he is, Allah does exist, and perhaps he doesn't exist. Right? Now you're at a stage of no certainty. You've just got doubt. So maybe he is, maybe he isn't. So the way the Imam alayhi salam isn't giving him all this evidence all at once. He's taking him through this transition. So he says, maybe he exists, maybe he doesn't exist. فقال الزنديق ولعل ذلك, perhaps that's true. فقال أبو عبد الله عليه السلام أيها الرجل ليس لمن لا يعلم حجة على من يعلم. He goes, the one who's got evidence isn't the same as the one who doesn't have evidence. ولا حجة للجاهل يا أخا أهل مصر. And there's no evidence for the one who does not know. تفهم عني فإنا لا نشك في الله أبدا. So come to consultants, come get from me regarding this issue. Come to us, Ahl al-Bayt. We've got the answers for. We don't come with guesswork. We've got evidence for this. We don't come with guesswork with this issue. أما ترى الشمس والقمر والليل والنهار يلجان فلا يشتبهان ويرجعان. I want to stop at this now. This issue here, he says, do you not see the night and the day and the sun and the moon? Have you not seen its motion, the way it circulates or the way it goes to its in its particular order? The Imam alayhi salam here is suggesting something. To reflect onto the creation. You want to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Look at this system. Now, the first argument, this argument over here that's coming, is the rational argument here that's coming. And this is what's being presented from philosophers and the theologians today that discuss, and it's a teleological argument. The argument of proving the existence of a creator through the design of his creation. And when we come to look at the design of the creation, many of us can come up with ideas. You know, think about some of the splendid factors in creation that cannot be fathomed and comprehended without a designer. And just as a small example, you know the Big Bang. The Big Bang is basically the point when this universe that we have today, came to exist, correct? This is the point, that the theory that they come with, that basically this is where we are today, the Earth. If we were to reverse time, this expansion that's happening today all comes back to a single point, okay? They say this expansion rate, because the Earth started to expand, the universe started to expand. They go, this rate of expansion that occurred, they go, if that rate, everyone knows what I mean by rate, the actual, the speed, if you want to say, how much it took place. They go, if that speed or that rate of expansion changed by 4 to the negative 18 seconds. Does everyone know how much 4 to the 18th is? It's 1 quintillionth of a second, which is 1 and 18 zeros of a second. If that rate changed by that fraction, 4 to the 18th, the whole entire expansion would have recollapsed back onto this. It wouldn't have existed. In other words, the existence today wouldn't have occurred. And this is just one example. You can give many examples. The example that Imam alayhi salam is giving is the sun and the moon. Who is putting this into orbit, making it move, designing it? Why isn't it that the moon orbits something else? Why does it orbit the Earth? Why does the sun, why do we orbit the sun in a particular way? Why do we have this motion? So we're going to get to that inshallah, maybe next week we'll have more time. But I just wanted to stop at this point. The first point in arguing for the existence of God, this is the argument that regardless of your level of comprehension and these discussions, this is the one that makes the most sense for everyone. And that's the proof through the existence, the proof through the design of what we have today. The design, everything is designed. And we can argue this through common sense. Can anyone say that if they find a watch in the desert, or if you find a watch in itself and say, this came by chance? Nobody would agree with that. It's very hard to agree with that. But a logical proof that we can give for this is that everything that's designed, it must have these certain functions. It must have these certain, factors that are taking place. Think about it. You need to have, whenever you want to design something, look at the probability. You need to know the type of material that you want to use, correct? Just think about it even from a building's perspective. The builder's perspective, he needs to find the right type of material. He needs to look at the quantity of the material, how much he needs to use, the quality of the material. What are some other factors that the builder or the person who's designing needs to take into consideration? That's 3. A 4th, we can say, the relationship between these components, the relationship or the proportionality or the relationship. Even the ratio, because when you're cooking, for example, if you put too much water or you put too much of a certain ingredient, it ruins the whole entire, regardless how much material you have. If you don't put the right ratio, it won't be correct. And there's many, many more factors involved. Now think about just think about the cell of the human being. Even within the cell, the DNA of the human being. They say the DNA has a particular component known as the amino acids. And they say there's 350 types of this amino acid within each DNA. And they say that it needs to be in this specific order. If one of those from that 350 was to change in order, the DNA wouldn't function or wouldn't work. It wouldn't have been stable. And that's just within the DNA. Then you go outside the DNA and you have the actual cell of the human being. And how many cells are there in each human being? How many? You can guess. Who can guess how many?
Trillions.
A trillion? 100 trillion. There's 100 trillion cells in the human being. This just gives you, very, very briefly, the idea that there must be a designer. But what I want from everyone, maybe to conclude with tonight, is to, before we go on to the hadith next week, is to think about some of the designs, the magnificent design of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this earth, and as a way we can use to prove that there can be no probability when it comes to this. Because how people suggest it's by chance. But we cancel out this claim straight away with a bit of maths. With maths, with the alphabet, we have 26 letters, yeah? 1/26. If I want to get 2 letters, let's say from the alphabet, what would be the
Times 1.
times 1/26? Okay? So what would that be? Who's got a calculator? 676. Okay, the probability of getting 2 letters from the whole alphabet, let's just say the letter 2, so the word 2, just to pull out that from the alphabet, you need, this is the probability, 1/676. Okay, make it 3-letter words. Because I want to write an essay, but it's by chance, right? Someone has to be compiled by chance. Now I want a 3-letter word, just this word 2 now, with an extra letter. What would be the probability of that?
Times 1 over.
Alright, times 1/26. I'm going by memory here, I'm not calculating it. 1/175, someone can check it, 76. That's the probability. The probability of getting just these 3-letter words, this 3-letter word here, TWO, the chance of this is that number there. And some scientists have gone, if I remember correctly, Professor Penrose of Oxford University, he came and he said that the probability of this universe, this grand universe, to be designed by chance without a God. I'm trying to remember the actual analogy he gave, But it's a number, it's a figure, so significant that if you were to write zeros, and keep going, from here to the end of the universe, you wouldn't fill it. Okay? The number looks like something like this. Okay? That's the number there. So in figures wise, you're writing a number that doesn't end. That's the probability of it coming by chance. And it's illustrated, you can say, the image of it is trying to actually aim at a, let's say, this is an electron. Who knows how small an electron is? Smaller than the atom, yeah? You're trying to aim at that. But what's your target? Where are you actually aiming at? The universe. And you're trying to hit an electron. The chances of hitting that electron is that probability. And that's very, very, very unlikely.
Sorry, Ahmed, just forgive my ignorance, just a question.
Yes?
Given an infinite time scale, however, wouldn't all probabilities eventually equal 1?
With infinite time?
Yeah. So if I had an infinite amount of darts,
Right.
and I keep throwing those darts, aiming at that electron,
Have we reached infinite time?
that's not negative, but look, I'm just asking generally,
Yeah.
because this is something that those who argue.
They argue that, yeah.
Now, for this to work, sorry,
Yeah.
you need an infinite number of universes. Yeah, because this is one universe, and if it changed by a bit, then the whole universe would collapse.
Yeah. Good point, yeah.
So, but they still have this argument, the
Yeah.
unlimited
But
number.
just with that point, in regards to time, let's say even if we to let's say we argue with, or we go and we say, okay, with infinite time, are we going to put our hope in that probability that's that's the probability, yeah? So insignificant to just say it's a chance, it can happen. Maybe one universe can pop out in 4 billion years that looks like this one, the one that we have today. But do we practically live like this? Let's say the plane, I'm going to jump on a plane to go overseas, and someone tells me the probability is this number, let's say, yeah, to get there safely. Will I say, I'll take the risk and say, I'll catch that plane tomorrow? Most likely our actions, the way we live, we look at probability in a way where we don't take such risks. And the risk of this universe, we only have one life. So the atheist, I'll say to him, if that's the numbers you're playing with, that you're willing to risk your whole existence and believing that there is no creator and there's no cause and there's no purpose in this world, then that would be irrational. You claim to be rational, but that would be irrational. So that would be my response. I'm not sure if you have a counter response or.
To an extent, but maybe not. It's just the fact is, if you want to argue that, but at the end of the day, it happened. So even bringing forth an argument, like I think there are stronger arguments to prove the existence of God. I think there is a better way to go about it, but using sort of this might be a good step.
Yeah.
However,
It's not the complete step, maybe. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like a lot of people do argue this,
Yeah.
and they do get destroyed by something else.
I don't want to build a straw man on their side and say, you know, they don't have arguments. They do have arguments, but I'm not just relying on this. And that's why hopefully it's only very limited time. Within the next few weeks, inshallah, we can go into the other arguments that we have from theological, from theistic perspective as well. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.